Welcome to the review segment here on our show, on the AM show. Joseph Akable is here. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice top you got there.
Well, thank you very much. Oh my God, you're such a gentleman. I thought you would never say. Well, today we have a full-blown Ghana Premier League conversation, and we want you to get involved. The league is getting exciting. I think there was a lot of excitement at the beginning when we had all those changes, but it slowed down, maybe also because of COVID and everything else. But the point where we've gotten to, the Ghana Premier League, is getting really exciting. We've got some serious clashes this weekend. And so we'll have a conversation. You're a Kotoko fan. I've never seen you in a Kotoko. I've seen you watch Accra Hatofo games, by the way. So we want to say thank you for patronizing our games.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, like you said, I support first and foremost Karela United. That is my team. Karela.
Oh, Karela is your team?
Yes, that's.
We've got the CEO joining us.
Okay, great. So Karela I'm a big fan of Karela United for obvious reasons. I mean, the idea in my
so okay.
Then after Karela, I consider Asante Kotoko to be the best club on the face of the earth.
You're entitled to that?
Then aside from Asante Kotoko, then there's no other team here in Ghana that I support.
You, Yate?
And what determined my choice of a team was I was looking at the last 10, 12 years. I was looking for a team that had won trophy. Karela didn't fit that bill, yet they had gone into the Premier League and they were doing so well. So folk in the last 10 years, no trophy. Okay, you actually won a trophy. Do you know the Abuaji Ejewa Cup? Do you know that trophy?
Are you talking about Kotoko or you're talking about Hatofo right now?
Maximum that you know the Abuaji Ejewa.
Are you talking about, are you done talking about Karela and Kotoko?
I'm actually like,
let's do the newspapers. keep your opinions to yourself. So a number of papers. We have the Ghanaian Times newspaper, the Daily Dispatch. There's also the Republic Press Custodian Weekend Today. Which ones are you doing?
I have the Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide. I'd also do the Ghanaian Publisher and end with the Finder newspaper. All
right, let's start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Here's what's on the front page. Minimum wage increase takes effect today. Agogo Paramount Chief rallies support for one constituency, one AstroTurf as Ghana Gas supports construction in Agogo. Robert Coleman, is Wembley involved in this project? But the banner headline here, which is very worrying, danger looms in Ketu South as tidal waves closing on Aflao-Keta Road. Full stories on page 15 as the Member of Parliament for the area who's talking to the Ghanaian Times. But the Ghanaian Times also did some monitoring where they say calamity looms over the Ketu South municipality as the ravaging sea, which has already buried 20 houses in 3 communities, is just about 10 meters away from the Aflao-Keta Road. If the sea finally cuts through the road, installations such as electricity poles and buildings would definitely be carried away, according to the revelations in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. A similar situation also hangs in my own area, in the Angloga area, where if you move from Jita to Strong Bay, you know, those areas, the sea is just, and each time when you go, you see houses that have been submerged. It's almost as if they didn't even exist. I think the Ministry of Housing has been doing something. So for instance, they've been in the central region this week in the Brekum area. I mean, it's all the way, really. It cuts across
all the coastal towns.
Exactly. So this is definitely, we need to be finding out what we are doing. We've erected some sea defense in the past, but we know that that's not enough. Absolutely not enough. The MTN, there's an MTN story, but that's something that we talked to you about yesterday. So let me just skip that and do the center spread of the paper, where we have President Akufo-Addo appointing the first batch of 21 envoys made up of 15 ambassadors and 6 high commissioners to represent Ghana in their assigned locations. Details of these personalities given, and there's a group photograph with the president also in the center spread of the paper. President also joined mourners to bid farewell to the former Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kwadwo Owusu, every year, Sir John. We will talk about the other things that made the headlines that people were talking about, particularly because of the numbers that showed up. So I'll leave this. We will come back and we'll highlight on that. And then the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, in collaboration with the Ablekuma Central Municipal Assembly, yesterday undertook a 4-hour cleanup exercise at the Abosokai Spare Parts Enclave in Accra. Joseph Akable was there. He will give us the backstory. And then the full story of the national daily minimum wage, which has now been pegged at 12.53 Ghana cedis. That story is here. It represents a 6% increase of the 2020 figure of 11.82 Ghana cedis, and it will be implemented from today. This is the figure that nobody should pay you below that. No one should. On the back page, Works Minister inspects work on Abuazi Sea Defense Project. See, we're talking about that a while ago. The National Development Planning Commission also yesterday held a virtual public consultation to solicit input into a draft 4-year medium-term national development policy framework for the period 2022 to 2025. Let's look at some crime-related stories on page 3. I think I'll just leave that and come back to it a bit later on. So for now, I'm done with the headlines in the Ghanaian Times. Joe?
I'll do the front page of the Daily Graphic now. It says, venture into entrepreneurship, finance minister to youth. It's almost the advice we get from governments all the time. On the other hand, when opposition parties are campaigning, they promise the youth that will provide jobs for them. Then when they get into power, they urge the youth to go into entrepreneurship to find jobs. 6 years after completion, Artisan Center stands idle, structures deteriorate. It's another story on the front page. And hundreds troop to Sakura Wono for Sir John's burial.
Can you imagine how I pronounced the name of the town yesterday?
How do you pronounce it?
I saw Sakura. I saw Sakura Wono. Sounded like a place in Accra.
I'm sure if I'm given a pen to write Sakura, I'll spell it the same way.
I mean, I saw it for the first time. I didn't know what to say, but I apologize for that.
Yeah. 9 perish in flooded mining pits at Mwabok, also on the front page. The back page has that story about decongestion cleanup at Abosokai, and drivers express concern over new transport fares is also on the back page. The center spread has this story about 376,169 complete second dose COVID-19 vaccination, and President presents credentials to 21 envoys. And so the new ambassadors are Miss Hadija Idrisu, that's for Zambia; Kwabena Okubi Apia, Liberia; Oheneba Dr. Leslie Echia Opokuwari, that's Russia; Lieutenant General Obed Boama Akwa, retired, he's heading to Egypt; and Mr. Charles Oredu, he's a former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, he's heading to South Africa. The others are Mr. Francis Dentikotia, the Netherlands; Mrs. Francisca Ashite Odunton, Turkey; there's Alhaji Ahmed Ramadan, United Arab Emirates; and Napoleon Abdullahi, Mali; Sylviana Adawa Ano, formerly of the Electoral Commission, she's heading to Denmark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's the representative government.
She was heading the PR, the Public Affairs Departments. Okay.
The Electoral Commission, she's heading to Denmark. And Barbara Akuako Benisa is heading to Malta. The list also has Haji Alima Mahama. She formerly the Minister
Local
of
Government.
Local Government. She's heading to the United States of America.
Okay, great.
Yakubu Al-Hassan, Namibia; Samuel Yawinsia, Cuba; Christine Checha is actually heading to Benin; and Damte Bediako Asari is heading to Kenya. There's also Alhaji Mohammed Habibu Tijani. He's also another former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, and he is heading to Saudi Arabia. And we have Karis Obechebi Lamte Zuenis is heading to Korea. So there are a number of others. Papa Usankuma back to the United Kingdom; Michael Oforiatta, Ambassador at Large, a position previously occupied by the PNC's flag bearer, Dr. Edward Mahama, but it's now been taken over by Michael Oforiatta. And Emmanuel Kwame Esiedu Enchi is Ambassador in situ. Yeah, into brackets, chief of protocol, ambassador in situ. Bracket chief of protocol.
Okay.
So that is how the country looks in terms of those who will be representing our interest.
What did you say? Into bracket what? Chief of protocol.
Chief of protocol.
Okay. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
We need some diplomatic lessons here.
Yeah. I know someone who can give an answer, but I'm not sure it's a week now. But I'll get the answer.
Okay.
Eventually.
Please do, because I'm curious.
In situ, chief of protocol.
Okay. All right then. We wish them well.
Yeah.
You're done?
With the Daily Graphic.
Okay, all right. Let's do Republic Press newspaper. Front page. Ayeni in fresh trouble, dragged to GLC over disparaging comments against Supreme Court. So disparaging comments is in quote. The Judicial Secretary has petitioned the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council to investigate alleged disparaging comments made by a former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, over the independence of the judiciary. So a letter cited by Republic Press and indeed all of us states that Dominic Ayeni made this claim with reference to the Supreme Court's conduct in the 2020 presidential election. It also, the letter was addressed to the chairman of the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council. It accused Dr. Ayeni of stating that the Supreme Court's failure to apply the rules of procedures, as well as the consistent and continuous dismissal of the petitioner's applications or reliefs, were the basis of his assertion. And these comments were made during a panel discussion on presidential election petitions and their impact on Africa's democracy. So this is what has gotten people also talking. So, you know, some believe that this was academic and an academic exercise, and no matter how grave you feel the comments are, you don't have to extend an invitation to anyone, because on that same panel there were people that disagreed with him and also shared their comments. So this is, we actually don't know if he has been duly served and if he's going to appear, but what we pick, we will share with you. I don't know what you think about this particular development. It's also brought about something that the president said when he wasn't president some years ago. And Joseph, maybe when we come back, Joseph would give you a brief because you've typed it out, haven't you? Yeah. All right, so we'll do that. There is a bizarre story, very strange. Man 39 bitten by a snake from the sky. Like practically, the snake dropped from the sky and bit him. This is how it happened, and it didn't happen in Ghana. It happened in Kenya. This man says that so he was driving and an eagle dropped the snake on his car. It went through his window and bit his hand, so he started screaming, and that's brought people on the scene, and in the process they killed the snake. But guess what? When they killed the snake, the eagle came back to pick the snake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his breakfast. He accidentally dropped it. You know how the eagles... You know,
do you believe in witchcrafts?
I think it was the eagle's meal.
Do you believe in witchcraft?
Let's move on. I'm not clear in my mind how to answer that question. Yes, I believe that they are metaphysical happenings.
Okay.
As to whether they are witchcrafts, goodness. Let's just, I'm not too clear in my mind, but yes, I believe.
Could this be spiritual, what I just described? Eagle dropping a snake, snake biting you, eagle coming back for the dead snake.
My logical response was the fact that it was the eagle's meal that
accidentally dropped. Okay.
And once it dropped, they got into the car, bit the gentleman, they killed the snake. What did they do? They left the snake there. The eagle was hovering around. Like, oh goodness, I dropped my...
Okay, an eagle came back for the snake.
Picked it up and went.
Logical reasoning for we here. All right, if you go to page 8, trader jailed 6 years over car fraud, and it's an Accra High Court that has sentenced this trader to 6 years imprisonment in hard labor for defrauding a Ghana Revenue Authority official of 50,000 Ghana cedis. His name is Edward Kote, aka Nikwe, who deals in the sale of used cars at Kanishi, and his accomplice Kofi Owusu Hayford. He collected 50,000 Ghana cedis from the complainant, Prince Owusu Amankwa, under the pretense of selling him a 2010 model of RAV4 vehicle, but failed. And so the breakdown of how the trial went is in the paper. You might want to catch up. 6 Chinese arrested for illegal mining, granted bail. Let's see. It gives their name. They have not been able to execute the bail bond, however. So on Friday, May 14, the Kanishi District Court remanded the accused into police custody, but they applied for bail at the High Courts. And then the court, presided over by Ms. Rosemond Ejiri, adjourned the matter to July 1. The accused persons are being held on 6 counts of possession of firearms without lawful excuse. And the facts have been narrated here. You can catch up. There's also this issue on the Rastafarian Buhaha, and Jokabonu is exposing his ignorance of the law. Lawyer for the Rasta students thinks. Let's see. 3 arrested in connection of murder of 12-year-old used for rituals. There's also an update of that in the story. And then Nachimoto School welcomes Rasta student. Alas, I hope that we will let the 2 gentlemen breathe some fresh air so that they can go to school like normal students.
They will never be normal students.
I hope that we will leave them.
Yeah,
you know?
But I mean, there will be icons on campus. People will love them. People will hate them. People will be fascinated by them. Among others. That's the path that unfortunately they will be on. But we just expect and hope that they will have the mental toughness to be able to focus on what matters the most, and that is making the best of their time at Achimota.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's it for the Republic Press.
The Daily Guide now, front page. Nane's brother sues for 10 million cedi defamation, as a photograph of Edward Akufo-Addo, aka Bamti. Opuni chases judge, files for stay, and UK Home Secretary visits Ghana. 100th mourn Sir John laid to rest. Has some photographs. The back page, Hearts Kotoko walk Tightropes. There's a photograph of the best player in the Ghana Premier League on the back page of the Daily Guide this morning. Fabio Gama of Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Who cares?
It's on the back page of the Daily Guide. So let me take that story again. Hearts Kotoko walk Tightropes. Oh, goodness.
Go ahead.
Hearts Kotoko walk Tightropes. Has a photograph of the best player in Ghana Premier League, Fabio Gama. My paper has been taken from me, but I know the story very well. And so he is on the back page there. There's a photograph of another gentleman, Kojo Bin Jr. of Accra Hatofok. It's on the back page. It's very interesting. If you look at the arrangement of the images, the Kotoko player's image is very huge. It took a while for me to recognize that of Kojo Bin Jr. Very little image, very insignificant in the grand scheme of the story.
You should check your eyes.
But the other stories here, they beat them all. Ghana captain Andre Ayew has been handed Swansea City FC top scorer for the 2020-2021. We understand this is the most goals he has scored in his career ever in a single season. He scored 17 goals in 46 matches for the Spurs.
Are we doing sports or we're doing general news headlines?
Oh, so I'm doing the back page stories. I'm just touching on the headlines still.
All right.
Don't worry. I did the Hearts of Folk one too, so I'm going for There's this story about Lukaku snaps Chelsea, and you shed fake tears. Aguero's father to Pep Guardiola, also on the back page. So I'll quickly do business now because there's a protest against sports this morning. So the Finder newspaper front page.
Look, there's a protest against sports.
Yes, it has.
You can be so dramatic.
I'm just reporting what's happening.
Good.
You know, yesterday I got a text message. Someone was, in fact, I've been informed that if I need legal services for them to press charges of assault,
harassment,
possible battery, because you consistently put me in imminent fear of physical danger. Oh,
so you suddenly found your voice because you got people who want to represent you because you've never expressed what you're saying.
Well, my attention was drawn to it. Really about the fact that the elements that constitute assault seem to be present. The battery element is what is not present for now, and so they drew my attention to it. about the
Let me give you a piece of advice.
Let me finish with
Please do.
I was told that if I have any reason to give the instructions to the lawyers are willing to proceed. Okay. But I told them that, look, she's my mom. So this one we'll talk about it at home.
Tell your lawyers and yourself. You're going ahead of yourself.
They are not my lawyers.
So first of all,
instructed them.
First of all, is there a Kokomleme police station or something?
No,
go there first.
You have to go to Nima.
So go there first.
I have to go to Nima. I see. But some other stories now on the Finder newspaper. 12.53 minimum wage takes effect today. This is mostly good news for public sector workers who are below the existing minimum wage. If really you are in a private space, we know that the enforcement issues are very difficult because if you do the math,
12.53 multiplied by what, 30 days?
Yeah, if you look at it, I mean, some will say that, look, I work for a total of 31. So maybe if you even do 31, you are looking at 388.43 cedis. And so if that, it means that whatever work you find yourself in, you shouldn't be paid less than 388.43 cedis. But enforcement has always been a major challenge, and people, the issue of unemployment, if you don't do the work, they'll find someone who will actually take half of that amount to do the work for you. But that is the situation. That's just 6% adjustment. Well, interestingly, let me bring you another story that is related to this. Transport fares up 13% from Saturday, and so 6% up in terms of minimum wage. Not even salary incremental, minimum wage, with the lowest amount that you're supposed to earn. So if you're actually being paid 500 cedis, it means that you're still taking 500 cedis. Nonetheless, you're supposed to pay transport fare by 13% from Saturday. Still on your 500 cedis salary, and so not very good time for workers. But we are told that it's tough times getting the economy back on board and all the fine economic explanations. Yeah. That is it for the front page of the Finder.
All right, let's do the Daily Dispatch. Front page of the Dispatch. We need to review 1992 Constitution, according to Majority Leader. MTN worthy of emulation. Bishop Ajanasari on insulting leaders said John was a true Akufo-Addo loyalist, according to the president. That's how the front page of the paper looks like this morning. Joseph will do the publisher.
Yes, the front page has that story about the daily minimum wage for 2021, now 12.53. And Opuni wants trial judge removed. And Nana Baumia bid Sir John farewell as tears flow. And Anado's brothers sues Bobby and Sat, 3 others also on the front page. Government begins recruitment of nurses. Another story on the front page of the Publisher newspaper. That is it for you, Mavi.
All right, last paper for me, perhaps Custodian. The other stories we're well familiar, but there's an appointment of a new executive director that was also making the round. She's the executive director of Dankwa Institute. Her name is Dr. Antoinette Chibo-Dako. Let's empower MMDAs to be resourceful, according to Obi Amwa, and he said this during his vetting, a deputy local government minister nominee. That's it for the Custodian newspaper, perhaps. Yep. Weekend today. Front page of Weekend today. What legacy? June 4th with a question mark. Cool mentality still reigns. Also a question. Comes with a picture of Akenteng Apia Menka. That's on the front page of the... This is the Weekend today. Today is June 4, actually. Remembrance of June 4, 1979. And Richmond Kilson, my former editor, when I was at Choice FM some years ago, many years ago, he's put a piece together. Richmond is a fantastic writer. And so I'll take time and read this. I urge you, please grab the Weekend Today newspaper and then check out what's in their story. This is definitely will be a good read.
Interesting. The June 4. I mean, some many years back, today would have been a holiday. There would have been a lot of route marches of a sort and celebration of that day. I mean, a lot has changed over the period, and the key figure in all of this discussion also died, unfortunately, not too long ago. Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings retired. And I understand the National Democratic Congress, they intend to organize a program?
No, there is an activity actually. So it's moved away from an intention.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll see if I can find this. So I'll share it. There was something advertised, and there will be speakers. So when we find that, we will share with you. That's it for the papers. Yeah, there was something that we wanted to look at in terms of, one is the funeral of Sir John, may his soul rest in peace. It's just the numbers that people were comparing that to. Is it a comparison or the issue of the Fix the Country demonstration? You remember the reason the police went to court to essentially get the court to stop them from going on that demonstration. People are saying, well, you did this, but see, you're allowing this funeral to go on with so many people showing up. But it also reminds me, because we had some restrictions in place, there were some regulations, and I still remember it. It's so fresh on my mind because we dealt with it here. There were some pastors that called me. They didn't know the direction. So we had to go into it and do a full-blown show to get clarity. And it was that you could do a burial service in a church. There was no cap to it. But if you were going to the cemetery, it had to be 25 people and not more than that. And you didn't have to return to sit down and do, the way we do funeral, that was a no. So we are not sure if that has been revised.
It's a full-blown funeral.
Yeah, this was like a normal one, the normal one that we know of before COVID came. And so question, and authorities must answer this, have the restrictions been lifted totally? Because people say if you allowed this, then tomorrow is Saturday. Next weekend, when people are doing it, you can't stop them.
I mean, the angle that I choose to look at it from is on the reasoning behind passing those restrictions. I mean, the intention of those restrictions is to protect all of us and contain the spread of COVID-19. And so if for some reason there is any event, and we can learn very much from the Brits when they organized the Prince Philip funeral. Very simple, straightforward, brief. I mean, just not wanting to put people in any risk of the infection. And so that is what a lot of people are really concerned about. And there are those who would want to draw the parallels with the Fix the Country protesters, where we've been told that, look, you can't stage a walk, despite the fact that if sure they are going to space out among all other things to embark on that particular work. We understand this morning they are actually walking from the Trades Union Congress to the High Court, where they are supposed to engage in a legal battle with the Ghana Police Service on these same matters of being allowed to stage a public protest for that matter. And so the criticisms have come in. The pictures I've seen, I mean, I have seen videos of people from this particular program who were not in mask, who were cheering the vice president on. Some were in mask nonetheless. I've also seen another video of some people who were cheering on the Trades and Industry Minister, Alan Kojo. They were giving him fans, like we say here in Ghana. A lot of fans there. And so that is what we've seen so far.
I just found and I need my producer and my director to check. I found the 42nd anniversary of June 4 uprising. Their theme for this year is the relevance of June 4 to the contemporary Ghanaian democracy. So there is a ceremony today, the Bannerman Park Kolegono at 7:30 a.m. After which, I think I saw another thing being advertised. They come back to the headquarters of the NDC for some speeches from some persons, also part of the lineup of activities. So yes, there is something happening by way of the June 4 uprising. Okay, Joseph, I wanted us to also look at Dr. Dominic Ayeni and then what President Akufo-Addo said when he was not president.
Yeah, and so this was some years back. The clip that is making rounds doesn't reference the specific decision that he was speaking about, but he described it as being perverse, showing little scholarship and having no basis in law. And when he was proceeding to explain it, the clip ends. But I mean, the point that some have made is that the CJ inviting Dr. Ayeni, they said this amounts to infringing on free speech. And there are others who also make the argument that free speech is not absolute. And when you are making comments, you can criticize a judge, but when you make the comment that a judge is not independent, that is an accusation of bias. And in law, when you have any reason to feel that a judge is biased, you make a request for that judge to be excluded from that particular case and not allowed to hear the matter. And so people say that, look, he was not actually criticizing the judge. There are those who also say that the Chief Justice should have let this matter slide. Others again make the point that it was the same comments that he made that he was dragged to the Supreme Court during the election petition for the contempt, which he apologized, and he has repeated the same comments again. And so we'll see how that particular issue will shape out.
Okay, so this links very well with this issue of Dr. Oponing, Kwabena Oponing, former CEO of the Cocoa Board, his case in court, and the fact that his lawyers are asking for the judge sitting on the case to recuse himself. This will be the second time that they are making, this kind of move.
That is how serious the allegation of bias is. You get the person out. You don't allow him to stay on it. And so it's not something that you throw out in the public domain without any particulars or take any action about.
Okay, well, quickly, myjoyonline.com. Do we have time for that? In the meantime, my friend Godfred Goba says to tell you, Joseph Akable, that eagles don't eat prey they didn't kill. No way an eagle would eat a snake it didn't kill, apparently.
I see.
Yeah.
So what was his theory? He has a witchcraft theory to propound. No, I'm trying to. He's rejecting my theory.
No, he's not. He has a different opinion from yours.
That's fine.
And it sounds like a stated fact. So if you have something else,
I don't have any.
Then
I just don't. I couldn't top of my head think of a situation or what could have accounted for that.
Let's just quickly take a look at what's on myjoyonline.com before we make way for Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Okay, go to myjoyonline.com and then you can explore. A very good morning to Papa Koakwe. Good morning to you. Join us. Okay, go ahead.
Muftau Nabila Abdullahi joins us for sports. He'll be talking to you about Hearts versus Olympics and Kotoko against Ashgrove. Kotoko will win that one. He'll give us a sense of who is likely to win. Okay, you're invited to that conversation after Muftau, actually. It's a full-blown one, and you're allowed to come as a fan of Kotoko. Muftau will handle the conversation exceptionally well. This guy. Stay with us. He's confused.